Hey, ladies, welcome to the live coaching session tonight. So, this week's topic is going to be about motivation and mindset. I do have some notes, so if you see me looking in a different direction, it's because I am looking at my notes a little bit. I want to make sure that I cover everything that I have in my mind to get out on the screen to you, so bear with me. A few things that I want to go over about some comments and questions that I got at the end of last week's session. If you are a member of the Pivot Facebook group, you will have seen that I added a macro cheat sheet to the file section of the Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group and you're watching this, feel free to join us there. It's Wellness with Faith tribe group. Guess I should start by introducing myself. My name is Jennifer, and I'm a certified health and wellness coach. And I like to empower and equip women to feel their best and be the best that God and be who God has created them to be. So I work with individuals, and I work in a group setting where we talk about fitness and we talk about mindset, we talk about nutrition. And that's what I'm here to do tonight. We're talking a little bit more about mindset and motivation this week. Last week we talked about macros. So you can go and find that on the link that I sent out. If you are not on my email list, let me know and I will make sure you're added to that link or that email list so that you can get these links each week. Because I do record these and then I send them out on replay. But some of the things that I want to go over, one was the macro cheat sheet. That was one of the questions that I got asked if someone, wanted to calculate their own macros. Again, you'll see a disclaimer because I highly recommend working with a coach to calculate your macros. However, if you wanted to try it on your own, that cheat sheet will help you. It kind of walks you through the process. It is a general, it doesn't take into consideration lifestyle as far as your exercise, and it doesn't take into consideration your age, menopause, anybody in menopause world. So, but it is a starting point. So you can take that cheat sheet, you can calculate your macros, and you can try to do those for, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks and see if you see any progress. And if you do, then you can continue. And once you hit a plateau, you can always reach out to me. Or if it's something that you want to try on your own, but yet you want some feedback, this is the place where you could come and get those questions answered. Because at the end of recording this, I do have a Q&A session that is not recorded, so you can get coaching advice or questions answered that way. But check the Pivot Facebook group for that macro cheat sheet because it is very helpful if you want to try to track your macros. As you know, I do macro coaching, but I also do meal plan. But the meal plan that I have created, which is the Pivot N6, is going to be macro based, but it's in a meal plan format so that you don't have to calculate, you don't have to think, you don't have to do any of this weighing, tracking, all that stuff. We'll talk about that later, but you can always reach out to me one-on-one and ask me any questions that you have. Okay, and the other question that I got after the live was how to track when you're going to a restaurant. Like, what are some guides? So I created a guide and I will include it. I think I'm going to be able to put it in the file section of our Pivot group. Also, you can email me and request it and I will send it directly to you. But it's a way that you can track your food without having to weigh when you go to a restaurant. For example, when you go to fill your plate, you want to start with your protein. Protein is the most important, so you want to start there. And you want the protein to be about the size of your palm. And that way you can know that that's at least 3 ounces that you'll be getting. Everybody's palm's different, so you have to kind of know that it's not going to be exact, but it's going to give you an idea. The other thing that you're going to do is your veggies next, or your fruit, depending on if you're having breakfast, you can add your fruit. But you can add that, and that's going to be a fist. So you just take your fist, and that's the amount of veggies that you want to make sure that you have on your plate. And then your carb is going to be your scooped palm. So just what fits in the scoop. So your protein was big, the palm is little with your carbs. And then your fat is going to be your thumb. So this guide kind of walks you through that and kind of helps you create your balanced meal or on your plate. So I will send it out. Like I said, I will put it in the Tribe Facebook group. But if you are watching this on YouTube or another outlet that I have, you can make sure that you can email me or text me or whatever, my number and my emails everywhere. And I'll put it at the bottom of the show notes here too. That way you can get that, and I will send that directly to you. It is in my store, but because you're hearing this on the live or on the replay, I am giving it to you for free. Okay, so I don't know if you receive my emails, but if you do not, I highly recommend getting them. I tell you some things in there. But we talked last week about coming up with a word for the year. And my word for this year was intentional. You can take your word and apply it to every area of your life. So for me, I'm being intentional with my coaching. I want to offer so much free that I want, because my goal in my heart is to help others. So I want to give you free coaching. So that's one of the things I'm being intentional about. That's why I'm having these weekly Zooms, so that I can give you information and I can equip you and empower you to take control of your health, because it's your health. I just want to come alongside and help you. But that's one of the things that we talked about, is finding your word for the year. If you haven't done it yet, it's not too late. What it does is keep that word, whatever it may be, empower. It could be excited. It could be any word you choose. Just think of something that's going to really, when you think of that word, it's going to propel you forward. And a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is our thoughts and how we can choose our actions based on our thoughts. Because what we think about is what we're going to talk about, and what our words say is going to impact our life. So if you're thinking negative, you're going to talk negative, and you're going to think that your life is negative. And we all know that that is not the case, but that's what we sometimes tell ourselves. So we're going to be talking about that. So as a health coach, I get the question all the time. I oftentimes hear, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Tell me what to eat. Tell me what workouts to do, and I'll do it. But friends, I understand this seems really simple and easy, and it's very tempting because we're all really busy, and I know everyone's time is precious. But if I simply tell you what to do, you'll never develop the mindset tools that you need to develop what is going to make this long term. Even in my pivot program, when I talk about here's your meal plan, I equip the ladies that are in my pivot program to choose from those options. You don't have to, it's not a chain, it's a tool. So the tool is there to give you a guide for what you should eat that week and the meals that you should have, but it's not a chain. It doesn't bind you. You can choose to move the meals around. You can choose to do what's going to fit your lifestyle, because I want to create a lifestyle, and I want you to create a lifestyle. But our brains and our bodies are connected. If I were to simply tell you exactly what to do, your brain is never challenged to change. Your brain is never challenged to grow. If you want your health to be a lifelong priority, you must access what's happening between your ears, which we are all guilty of it, I know. So the language that we use, or the way that we communicate with ourselves, should be top priority. It's, if not the top priority. Why is that? Why should that be number one when we're thinking about this stuff? Because it's the starting point for everything that we say and everything that we do. Now, if you fundamentally believe that you are worthless, is someone trying to get in? Okay, sorry about that. If you fundamentally believe that you're worthless, you wouldn't be sitting here with me today. Sorry, okay. So sorry, I got off. All right, let me figure out where I am. Okay, so the language that we use is what we communicate with ourselves should be top priority, if not the top priority. And the reason I said that is because everything that we think and everything that we say and everything that we do, that's the starting point for what we say to ourselves. So if you fundamentally believe that you're worthless, which I don't think that you do, because you wouldn't be sitting here today, or you wouldn't be listening to this on replay. You would be just really thinking that you're worthless and not trying to do anything for yourself. So I'm not talking to the people who are those people, because they're detrimental. So if you're thinking that you're worthless and you don't do any steps to improve, you have to have a starting point somewhere different. The people that I'm talking to you are the ones who have the drive to make a change, but they just maybe don't know how to get there, or maybe they have negative thoughts along the way. Those are you that I'm talking about, me included. Some days I get up and I'm like, I don't have motivation to do this. I came home from work tonight. It was a long day. It was a rough day. I came home from work and I thought, I don't want to teach class tonight. So I had a choice, right? So I'm not talking about the people that I'm talking to are those of you that are just like me. We experience some negative thoughts and we need to take those thoughts captive and we need to learn what to do with them. So I'm talking to the rest of you who may not even realize that how your thoughts and the way you speak to yourself could be hindering you. So I'm going to explain that in a minute, but I want you to be living your best and your healthiest life. So if you change your thoughts, your language, the way you speak to yourself, and ultimately your belief, it's a process. This isn't going to happen overnight, and it's important for you to understand that. Overcoming it isn't easy, but it is possible, very possible. And the first step is awareness. So as soon as you're aware that you are thinking negative thoughts and talking negative to yourself, that's the first step. That's how you know that you can make a change. So I want you to be aware of everything that you think. I want to assure you that your brain can be your greatest weapon, but it also can be your greatest enemy. And nothing can determine how it will serve you except for you. You must change the way you think and ultimately what you believe. So I'm going to tell you the story just so you can get a small glimpse of how true this concept is. There is a tribe called the Himba tribe. Their language doesn't have the word for the color blue. Seriously. In fact, their language makes no distinction between the color blue and the color green. Now, we all know that there is a clear distinction between the color blue and the color green, correct? Well, get this. Because they don't have a word for the color blue, they actually perceive it differently than you and I. The way the Himba language works in terms of colors is by grouping colors together. So, for example, they group blues and greens together, and they have a hard time differentiating what seems obviously to us. This is how powerful the language is. The fact that they're missing a word like blue can all but eliminate it from their perspective is a huge deal. The greater question is, what else does this tell us about how the language we use dictate our beliefs? The Himba tribe would tell you there's no such thing as the color blue. This is all due to the language dictating our beliefs. Beliefs dictate our thoughts and our actions and our behaviors. It's as if their language dictates their reality. How might your own beliefs be dictating your thoughts, your actions, and your beliefs? Let me break this down into a real world example. As a health coach, the one thing I hear most is nutrition is really hard for me. Normally, I would think, yeah, it's the hardest thing for everyone. But after thinking about this particular language and how it might control our actions, I now have a different response. Now I would say, as long as you believe nutrition is the hardest for you, it will always be. Your beliefs are dictating your reality, just as it does for the Himba tribe. If you believe your nutrition is the hardest for you, you're placing yourself in a box that almost feels inescapable. And listen, we're just hardwired to find truth in our internal belief systems. If we want something to be true enough, we'll find ways to make it true. You won't miraculously escape these thoughts. You must intentionally change your language and become aware of how you speak to yourself. Another example, I'll commit when I'm motivated. Think about this deeper. You're ultimately saying you can't do anything unless you're motivated. And you'll live this out because your thoughts dictate your actions and your reality. It's so important to learn how to control your brain instead of it controlling you. And for many of us, our brains are controlling us. There are some tips, so hear me out. Unfortunately, I don't have a magic solution for this activity. There's no step-by-step tutorial. You have to do the work. There are a lot of things that come along with instructions. But changing your brain requires intentional action with every single thought. By the way, my word this year is intentional. And every single day, every single thought, I have to be intentional. And that's what I want you to do as well. One thing that I like to recommend, and anybody who knows me knows that I love to journal. I know. Who has time for that? But it works. You don't have to journal for long. Just a few short sentences will do. I actually use a calendar, and then on that calendar slot, I journal for that day. So it could be a sentence, it could be the whole paragraph about my day, it could be something just as simple as I felt good today, or this stressed me out today. Because when you go back and you read your journals, it's like, it really is. I really recommend journaling. So you're putting on paper makes your thoughts real. Just like they're hindering you, that could also reveal to you what you're thinking. So you can see them and you can come back whenever time allows and write some alternative thoughts that will rather move the needle forward instead of staying stuck and just thinking about the negative things. You can come back, you can read that, and you can say, hey, wait a minute. No. I'm going to shift my thinking. I'm going to pivot my thinking. So learning to think is one of the best gifts that I can help you with. I can't just tell you what to do or what to eat or what to think, because that would be a disservice to you. You can learn to change your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. And I believe that. Because if I could do that for you, you wouldn't learn anything and you would stop whenever you stopped meeting with me and you'd be back to square one. And I want whatever we learn to change our lifestyles. So if you are an active participant in learning to understand your beliefs and why you struggle, you'll continue searching for the answers within programs or challenges. Now, don't get me wrong, programs are good, especially mine. I love my Pivot program, but the answer does not lie in the program. The answer lies within you. If you change your reality by changing the way you communicate with yourself, it changes everything. That's why I like to say we pivot our nutrition, we pivot our mindset, we pivot our life. But the mindset component is key. I can tell you everything that you can eat, the times to eat it, how much to eat. But if you don't change the mindset, you can't change your life. So I want to end with this last example. Speaking of language, we all perceive failure to be a negative or a bad thing, right? Obviously, some of us have changed our thoughts around failure already, but generally speaking, we hear the word failure and we think something negative. What if we could think of the word failure differently? After all, failure is a man-made word with the man-made definition. But what if we could think of failure as something positive? Maybe think of failure as a life lesson or an opportunity to grow. What would it look like if we could change the way we think of language, of words, and the way that we speak to ourselves? So when you wake up tomorrow, I want you to, like I said last week on here, I wanted you to write down 5 things that are positive about yourself. If you wake up tomorrow and write one sentence that you want to change your thought for that day, one sentence, it could be, I can drink all my water. Just a real simple sentence. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And I want you to do that every day next week and the week after and the week after. And then I want you to see the difference between when you wake up and say, oh, I cannot handle that much water, or when you say, I can do this. My next pivot in 6-week cycle. I was calling it around, but I really like the word cycle better because we just keep cycling through. I want to give you a clear understanding of what my pivot program does. My pivot program equips you, empowers you, and helps you to pivot your thoughts and your actions. Those thoughts and actions around your life, those thoughts and actions around your nutrition, because it all starts with your mind and your mindset. So when I talk about these things on here, these are things that we're going to address deeper together with my pivot program. Yes, I have recipes and I have meal plans and I have everything that you need for success. But the only way that you can be successful with pivot or with any other program out there is you. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions. That's where success comes from. I want to help you. We can work together daily to make it happen, but that's where it has to start. It has to start with you. No one can do it for you. No one can change your mindset. You're the only one that can change your mindset. You can start today and say, I'm going to change. I'm going to think differently. Yes, I will be the first to tell you there are some days that just seem downright overwhelming. But we have a choice. When we're in that moment of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like we're drowning, we have a choice to make. And we can choose a positive choice, or we can choose to stay stuck. And if you're like me, menopause has kicked me in the rear in so many ways. But we don't have to stay stuck even in menopause. Yes, menopause has all these side effects, and we can choose to dwell on those side effects, or we can choose to not stay stuck and do something about them and feel better. So we kind of pivot our thinking so that we're not worried so much about the pant size anymore. We're worried about how we feel and how we think about ourselves. So that's what I want to end with. I want to tell you and encourage you that you must start with your mindset, and it has to start with you. If you are not a member of the Facebook group, I would love to have you. It's a free Facebook group, and every day I send out something that's going to help you with your mindset and with your nutrition. But it's a lot of mindset because, like I said, I can give you all the nutrition tools and all the nutrition answers. But if you don't change your mindset, none of that matters. So I am going to end with a little bit of a motivation, not so much a quote, but I want you to think of something. When you think about motivation, why are you trying to do blank? Fill it in. It may be relation to a workout. It may be motivation to eat right. Why? Why are you doing that? Are you doing that to look good for someone else? Are you doing that because everyone else is doing that? Are you doing that to please your spouse? Think about your why, because if your why is for someone else, it's not deep. I want you to go deep into your thoughts and deep into your thinking and think about why you choose to work out, why you choose to eat right. I want you to think about that, and that's your why, and that's what needs to be in the front of your mind when you're working on your mindset, when you're working on changing your life. Think about your why, because our circumstances can change over and over. We can have good days, we can have bad days, but what we are motivated about or what we're thinking about is what's going to pivot us forward. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this nice quick Zoom. I think it was pretty quick tonight. I'm not sure. I think I'm trying to keep them around 30 minutes or less. But thank you for joining me for those that join live. And otherwise, this will be on the replay. If you are watching this on the replay, I would love to connect with you on my social. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook with Wellness with Faith. You can also email me. It's going to be in the show notes. It will be, you can email me or you can text me. And again, don't forget your freebie. So I will post it in the Facebook group. But if you're not in the Facebook group or you would like it sent directly to you, just shoot me a text and I will send it to you there. Thank y'all. And I'm going to stop the live and I'm going to answer any questions that anyone has. As soon as I figure out how to stop. Okay, y'all have a good day.